Hello and welcome to How to Convince Your Friends You're Good at Cooking, the show that teaches uni students or anyone else willing to learn how to make good, crowd-pleasing meals on a budget. This week we'll be doing all things egg, and thus the ingredient list is very simple. Eggs. Although the article below will have more details about stuff to go with the different egg techniques that we demonstrate in this video. So let's jump right in. We're going to start with the easiest of all the techniques we'll cover today, a boiled egg. You'll need a pan of boiling water and a bowl of cold water / ice water. As long as it's cold, it doesn't really matter. So getting started, make sure your water is already boiling. Then gently lower your egg in the water instead of dropping it. This will avoid cracks and any egg explosions. After your egg has boiled for your desired time, take it out of the boiling water and place it into the cold water. This will stop it cooking further. In terms of what times you want to cook it for a super soft egg, boil for 3 minutes. For a solid white but a super runny yolk, 4 minutes. For a completely solid white and a runny but not fully liquid yolk, 6 minutes. For hard boiled, 10 minutes, and for super hard boiled, 15 minutes. Although, I would recommend not using this one on its own, but it does have some really good uses in different recipes which I will talk about in the article. Follow these steps and serve with toast. You can either cut it in half or serve it in an egg cup, but remember to sprinkle it with salt before you eat it. Next up, poached egg. This is likely the type of egg that people are most scared of cooking. Well, it is the most difficult method when doing it traditionally, but if you follow this technique, I promise you'll get an easy, perfect poached egg every single time. Although, it is worth noting that poached eggs, more than any other technique in this video, really benefit from using a fresh egg. You can tell how fresh your eggs are by putting them in some water. If they sink, they're fresh. If they float, they're a bit too old. Grab a ramekin or a mug and lay some cling film over the top. Create a small well in this cling film and then crack your egg into it. Once you've done this, you can pull up the rest of your cling film and either clip it shut or tie a knot in it. After you've done that, you can bring some water to a simmer, like so, and then lower your egg into it and poach it for 3 minutes, or until all the egg whites are no longer transparent and are a white colour. Once this is done, pull out your poached egg and put it on a plate with some kitchen roll. This will get rid of any excess water that's on the cling film before you unwrap it. Then you can open up your cling film, get your poached egg, and serve. Sprinkle with some salt, pepper, and any other seasoning you may like. And look at that perfectly runny yolk. Next up, I will be doing a traditional sunny side up fried egg with a runny yolk. If you don't want your yolk runny, then just cook it for longer. But in my opinion, this is the only way to have a fried egg. It's worth noting that all the techniques from here on out will require you to have a decent non-stick pan for them to work. But I'll talk more about that in next week's video on what you should have in your kitchen arsenal. Start by heating some oil in a pan on medium heat. Once you can feel the heat coming off the pan, crack your egg into it. You should notice that the white instantly starts changing colour. From here, cover your pan with something to trap the heat in. I'm using a metal tray. By trapping the heat in, we will make sure the top of the egg is cooked without having to overcook the bottom. Leave it for around 4 minutes, take off the tray, and marvel at your almost cartoonishly perfect egg. Serve it by sprinkling with salt and pepper and any other seasoning you want. Next up, scrambled eggs. The most controversial entry on this list, I'm sure, because I like my scrambled eggs fairly loose. If you want them more firm, then simply cook them for a bit longer than I do in this video. I will be using 3 eggs in this, which is enough for about 2 people's breakfast, if served with some toast and maybe some bacon, of course. Crack the 3 eggs into a pan and add a knob of butter. Do not season it yet, as this will ruin the texture and the colour of your eggs. Turn your stove up onto high. You'll be taking your pan on and off the heat while you're doing this cooking process, so make sure you have some room to do this. Put your pan on the heat and start stirring with a rubber spatula, making sure to break all the yolks as you do so. The butter should start melting and it all should start coming together. The most important thing is now that you've started stirring, do not stop. After about 40 seconds, take your pan off the direct heat and keep stirring. Then, after 40 seconds of this, put it back on. The reason we're doing this is because your pan is retaining heat as we cook it, even when it's off the hob. By doing this, we are regulating the heat so nothing burns and we get perfectly evenly cooked eggs. Yet again, keep it on the heat for 40 seconds, then take it off. It should be looking roughly like this, and is almost done. So add a splash of milk, and you can finally season it with salt and pepper before stirring it for another 40 seconds and serving. It should be velvety, creamy, delicious, and all around a brilliant breakfast. We finally reached the final destination on our egg venture. If you didn't think I'd get at least one egg pun in, you are sorely mistaken. A lot of people tell me that when they make an omelette, they end up with scrambled eggs. So I'm going to take my time with this one to make sure that you end up with a great omelette every time you try this technique. Yet again, you'll really need a good pan for this, as well as a rubber spatula. Take 3 eggs and crack them into a bowl, and mix really well with a whisk. It should be entirely combined together without a trace of any stray yolk or stray white. Heat about 1 to 2 tablespoons of butter in your pan at medium heat. Once melted, add your eggs and begin to stir them gently with your spatula. Be sure to scrape it off the sides and shake your pan like so to level your eggs. Keep repeating this until your eggs eventually start getting more and more solid. Once it looks like this, and you have to use your spatula to even it out instead of just shaking your pan, you're ready. So season it with salt and pepper, or any other seasoning of your choice. Take it off the heat, and lay down a line of your filling. It can be anything you've pre-cooked before. In my case, I'm using a crab, cream cheese and herb filling. Then you can start rolling it up like a burrito. Do this gently using your rubber spatula and your fingers if need be, but be careful not to burn yourself. Try and end up with your omelette seam side down to seal it all together. And now you've got your perfectly sausage shaped omelette. You can put it back on the heat with just a little bit more butter to give it that last little bit of cooking. Now that you've done that, you are ready to serve. So be carefully getting it out your pan onto your plate. And once you cut it open, you can see all those beautiful creamy layers of egg and your delicious filling of choice. A truly perfect brunch, lunch, or even dinner. So thank you very much for watching. And be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And comment down below what else you would like to see. Be sure to check out the article in the description for more tips, tricks and advice on your egg cooking.